Will be your host, and as soon as I see, okay, awesome, I'm just being slow on my reception. Alright, I'm here and we're all there. Thank you all for joining us here for Torah School. Yeah, as I said, my name is Eric Allen and I will be your host. Today we'll be reading Bemidbar, or Numbers. Bemidbar is actually, the Hebrew word means in the wilderness. In the Greek, they translated it into Numbers, but the word means in the wilderness. The entire book is about the adventures they had in the wilderness. Of course, a couple of times a census was taken, but this book is not about numbers. This book is about the wanderings they had through the wilderness of Sinai. And without further ado, we're going to be reading only the first couple of chapters, reading from Numbers chapter 1, verse 1, reading all the way through chapter 4, verse 20, and stopping at chapter 4, verse 20 in Numbers. So shall we get started without further ado? Blessed are you, Yahweh. Thank you for giving us this, your Torah. Please be with us as we study this Torah. We thank you for the food that we have eaten today. We thank you for the day of rest that you've given us. We thank you for giving us this Torah. We ask now that you enlighten us. Be with us as we study your Torah and teach us from your Torah by your Spirit what it is you would have us to know. We ask all this in Yahshua's name. Make it so. Hallelujah! Alright. Again, like I said, we're reading Numbers chapter 1 through 4:20. Bemidbar, which means in the wilderness. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they had come out of the land of Mizraim, saying, Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out into the army in Israel, number them by their divisions, you and Aharon, and a man from each tribe should be with you, one the head of his father's house. Okay, and a man from each tribe should be with you, each one the head of his father's house. And these are the names of the men who stand with you. From Reuben, Eleazar, son of Shedeur. From Shimon, Shelemiel, son of Zurisadai. From Yehuda, Nashan, son of Aminadab. From Yissachar, Nathaniel, son of Zerar. From Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helion. From the sons of Joseph, from Ephraim, Elshannah, son of Aminihud. From Manasseh, Gamliel, son of Pedahsur. From Benjamin, Avidan, son of Gideoni. From Dan, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. From Asher, Pagiel, son of Okran. From Gad, Eliasaph, son of Deuel. From Naphtali, Ahiriah, son of Anon. These are the ones called from the congregation, leaders of their fathers' tribes, head of thousands of Israel. And Moshe and Aaron took these men who were called by name and assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their ancestry by clans, their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, each one head by head. As Yahweh commanded Moshe, so he registered them in the wilderness of Sinai, and the children of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, every male, head to head, from 20 years old and above, every one going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Reuben were 46,500. And shalom, DJ Huck. And you're welcome. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for. Praise be to Yahweh. But anyway, those who registered to the tribe of Reuben were 46,500. Hello again. And from the children of Shimon, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, of those who were registered according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Shimon were 59,300. From the children of Gad, or God, their genealogies by their clans, their father's houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Gad were 45,650. From the children of Yehudah, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Yehudah were 74,600. From the children of Issachar, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Issachar were 54,400. From the children of Zebulun, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, everyone from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Zebulun were 57,400. From the sons of Joseph, the children of Ephraim, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Ephraim were 40,500. From the children of Manasseh, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, everyone going to the, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200. From the children of Benjamin, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Benjamin were 35,400. From the children of Dan, or Dan, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Dan were 62,000 700. From the children of Asher, their genealogies, by their clans, everyone going out into the army, those who were registered of Asher, from the children of Asher, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Asher were 41,500. From the children of Naphtali, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army, those who were registered of the tribe of Naphtali were 53,400. These were those registered whom Moshe and Aaron registered with the leaders of Israel, 12 men, each one for his father's house, and all those who were registered of the children of Israel by their father's house, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army of Israel, all those who were registered were 603,550. But the Levites, the Levites were not registered among them by their father's tribe, because Yahweh had spoken to Moshe, saying, only the tribe of Levi you do not register, nor take a census among the children of Israel. Instead, appoint the Levites over the dwelling place of the witness, over all its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. They bear the dwelling place and its furnishings, and they attend to it and camp around the dwelling place. And when the dwelling place is to go forward, the Levites take it down, and when the dwelling place is to be set up, the Levites set it up. And the stranger who comes near is put to death. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, everyone by his camp, everyone according to his own banner, according to their divisions. For the Levites camp around the dwelling place of the witness, so that there be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall guard the duty of the dwelling place of the witness. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe. So they did. Alright, any questions, comments on the first chapter? Alright, chapter 2. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, the children of Israel are to camp. Makes sense to me. Thank you, DJ. Yeah. And the children of Israel are to camp, each one by his own banner, besides the sign of his father's house. Let them camp around the tent of meeting at a distance. And on the east side, towards sunrise, those of the banner of the camp of Yehudah camp, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Yehudah, Nashan, son of Aminadab, and his army with their registered ones, 74,600, and those camping next to him is the tribe of Issachar, and the leader of the children of Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, and his army with his registered ones, 54,400. Then the tribe of Zebulun, and the leader of the children of Zebulun, Eliav, son of Helyon, and his army with its registered ones, 57,400. and the registered ones of the camp of Yehuda, according to their divisions, 186,400. These depart first. On the south side, the banner of the camp of Reuben, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Reuben, Eleazar, son of Shedeur, and his army with its registered ones, 46,500. And those who camped next to him, the tribe of Shimon, and the leader of the children of Shimon, Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, and his army with its registered ones, 59,300. Then the tribe of Gad, and the leader of the children of Gad, Eliasaph, son of Reuel, and his army with its registered ones, 45,650. And all the registered ones of the camp of Reuben, according to their divisions, 151,450, and they are the second to depart. And the tent of meeting, the camp of the Levites, shall move out in the middle of the camps. As they camp, so they move out, everyone in his place by their banners. On the west side, the banner of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Ephraim, Elishama, son of Amminadab, and his army with their registered ones, 40,500. And next to him, the tribe of Manasseh, and the leader of the children of Manasseh, Gamliel, son of Pedishur, and his army with their registered ones, 32,200. Then the tribe of Benjamin, and the leader of the children of Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gedoni, and his army with their registered ones, 35,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, 108,100. And they are the third to depart. On the north side, on the banner of the camp of Dan, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Dan, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai, and his army with their registered ones, 62,700. And those who camped next to him, the tribe of Asher, and the leader of the children of Asher, Pagiel, son of Akron, and his army with their registered ones, 41,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali, and the leader of the children of Naphtali, Ahira, son of Anan, and his army with their registered ones, 53,400. All the registered ones of the tribe of Dan, 157,600. They depart last with their banners. These are the registered ones of the children of Israel by their fathers' houses, all who were registered according to the divisions of the camps, 603,550. But the Levites were not registered among the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, So they camped by their banners, and so they departed, each one by his clan, according to their fathers' houses. Alright, chapter 3. In a minute. Alright. So we're basically traveling as the sundial moves, from the rising of the sun, the first watch of the day, when the shadow is cast in the, if you set the sundial up that way, the shadow will be cast over on the east side, if you're facing north, and then the shadow moves to the south, and then it moves over to the west, and when the shadow gets all the way up, that would be the end of the day as far as that goes, as the sun's beginning to set. So that's how the children of Israel were camped. And we also notice that the Levites would move out in the middle, so you have an army in front and an army in back protecting the dwelling place and the mercy seat, and we have the army surrounding everything, completely protecting that. And they move out, and their duty is to guard the dwelling place, and to guard the Mishkan, and to guard the Ark of the Covenant, and the mercy seat, and all the gold, and the altars and everything. Their duty is to guard that, while the children of Israel were to go out and to do any battle. If there were going to be a battle, they would stay and make sure that no one was able to penetrate and guard and take that which was most precious to Yahweh. And now we're going to get into the firstborn, because Yahweh said, the firstborn is mine, all the firstborn must be ransomed. And we're going to get into detail. When I was studying this, I never noticed that before, but also the firstborn animals were also redeemed by the animals of the Levites. I thought that was interesting to know. But that's what I noticed here in chapter 3, and we will now read chapter 3, verse 1. And these are the generations of Aharon and Moshe, when Yahweh spoke with Moshe on Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aharon: Nadab the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And these are the names of the sons of Aharon, the anointed priest, whom he anointed to act as priests. And Nadab and Abihu had died before Yahweh, when they brought strange fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar acted as priests in the presence of Aharon their father. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near, and set them before Aharon the priest, and they shall serve him, and shall guard his duty, and all the duty of all the congregation before the tent of meeting, to do the service in the dwelling place. And they shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, and the duty of the children of Israel, to do the service of the dwelling place. And you shall give the Levites to Aharon and his sons, and they are given ones, given to him from among the children of Israel, and appoint Aharon and his sons, and they shall guard their priesthood, and the stranger who comes near shall be put to death. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Now look, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens the womb, among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, I set apart to myself all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. They are mine. I am Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Register the children of Levi by their fathers' houses, by their clans, register every male from a month old and above. So all the children of Levi are registered from a month old and above. It's basically counting every one of the children of Levi. So Moshe registered them according to the word of Yahweh as he had been commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon and Kehath and Merari. And these were the names of the sons of Gershon by their clans, Libni and Shimni. And the sons of Kehath by their clans, Amram and Yisachar, Hebron and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their clans, Mahli and Mushi. And these are the clans of the Levites by their father's house. From Gershon came the clan of the Libnites and the clan of the Shimnites. These were the clans of the Gershonites. Their registered ones, according to the number of all the males from a month old and above, their registered ones were 7,500. And the clans of the Gershonites were to camp westward behind the dwelling place. And the leader of the father's house of the Gershonites, Eliasaph, son of Lael. And the duty of the children of Gershon in the tent of meeting was the dwelling place, and the tent with its covering, and the covering of the door of the tent of meeting, and the screens of the courtyard, and the covering of the door of the courtyard, which is around the dwelling place, and the altar, and their cords, according to all its service. And from Kehath came the clan of the Amramites, and the clan of the Yisharites, and the clan of the Hebronites, and the clan of the Uzzielites. These were the clans of the Kehathites. In number, all the males from a month old and above were 8,600, guarding the duty of the set-apart place. Then the clans of the children of Kehath were to camp on the south side of the dwelling place. And the leader of the house of the clans of Kehathites was Elisaphan, son of Uzziel. And their duty was the ark, and the table, and the lampstand, and the altars, and the utensils of the set-apart place used in the service, and the covering, and all its service. And Eleazar, son of Aharon, the priest, was to be chief over the leaders of the Levites, with the oversight of those who guard the duty of the set-apart place. From Merari came the clan of the Mahalites, and the clan of the Mushites. These were the clans of Merari, and their number of registered ones, all the males from a month old and above, were 6,200. And the leader of the father's house of the clans of Merari was Zuriel, son of Avihalel. These were to camp on the north side of the dwelling place. And their appointed duty of the children of Merari was the boards of the dwelling place, and its bars, and its columns, and its sockets, and its utensils, and all its service. And the columns of the courtyard, all around, their sockets, and their pegs, and their cords. All those were to camp before the dwelling place on the east, before the tent of meeting, were Moshe and Aharon and his sons, guarding the duty of the set-apart place, and the duty of the children of Israel. But the stranger who came near was to be put to death. All the registered ones of the Levites, whom Moshe and Aaron registered at the command of Yahweh, by their clans, by their males from a month old and above, were 22,000. And Yahweh said to Moshe, register all the firstborn males from the children of Israel from a month old and above, take the number of their names. And you shall take the Levites for me, I am Yahweh, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel. And all the livestock of the Levites, instead of all the firstborn among the livestock among the children of Israel. How many times have I read that in many years, and it's the first time it clicked for me. And Moshe registered all the firstborn among the children of Israel as Yahweh had commanded him, and all the firstborn males by the number of names from 1 month old and above. Their registered ones were 22,273. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, take the Levites instead of the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of their livestock, and the Levites shall be mine. I am Yahweh. And for the ransom of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who are more than the number of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each one, head by head. Take it by the shekel of the set-apart place, the shekel of 20 gerahs, and you shall give the silver, the ransom of those who are in excess among them, to Aaron and his sons. And Moshe took the ransom silver from those who were above, those who were ransomed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the children of Israel, he took the silver, 1,365 pieces, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. And Moshe gave the ransom silver to Aaron and to his sons, according to the word of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Now, the way I understand this, I haven't studied it in depth, but I studied what the ancients, what the sages, what the Orthodox, what the rabbis teach, and give or take what they teach with a grain of salt, because they teach against Messiah, so they're not going to, or they teach against Yeshua being the fulfillment of the Messiah's prophecy. They don't teach against Messiah per se, but they teach against Yeshua being the fulfillment of that Messiah prophecy. So we can't rely wholeheartedly on what they say, but this time it makes sense. It seems that, of course, being, instead of taking it from the firstborn, they took it from the clans of the firstborn, and most likely this was taken by lot. They would write down son of Lewi for each one of the for son of Lewi, and they would write down, and anyone who drew a lot for a son of Lewi was fine, but those who drew a blank lot that didn't say son of Lewi on it, those were the ones that paid the 5 shekels. There was only enough shekels to cover the excess of the children of Israel's firstborn that were over and above all the Levites. So that is how they determined how that was paid. It makes sense to me, and that's the way I understand it as it is right now. If someone has understanding of that, or has studied that more in depth, we can discuss that further. Please type in your questions, your comments, and your suggestions on how that was handled, and we can discuss that. If not, we will read chapter 4 up to verse 20. I'm going to get into the actual details of how the Levites were to handle the breaking down and setting up of the tent of meeting. So chapter 4, verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, take a census. Thank you. Thank you for your prayer. Yahweh bless you. And DJ Huck wrote in, Yahweh bless you according to the dealing with all those vowel sounds. Thank you very much. I do struggle with that. I practiced that diligently all day yesterday, and I still hope I pray that I get it correct, if I can. I do like the way that it is set out in the scriptures and in the Hallelujah scriptures. They have actual vowel markings in there to make an assist, and that makes it a little bit easier. Of course, as far as Dan, Don, or Dane is concerned, I always saw that as a Don or a God and the A, but further study in the Strongs and the way it was vowel marked by the Masorites seems to point that it was Gade or Dane. And that makes sense because we have the Danube River, and we had the Danish people, and that's the way we pronounce that now. It seems to be the way it was pronounced by them. Of course, dialects change as people migrate. That doesn't prove how it was pronounced at that time, whether it was pronounced with a A or the A. But anyway, thank you again. Thank you again, DJ Huck, for that. That was awesome. Anyway, as we were at chapter 4, we are dealing with the details, or a little bit more detail-oriented, of what the Levites were to do to the tent of meeting at tear down and set up. Alright, let's go again with chapter 4, verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, take a census of the sons of Kehath from among the children of Levi, by their clans, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter the service to do the work in the tent of meeting. This was the service of the sons of Kehath in the tent of meeting, the most set apart matters. At the breaking of the camp of Aaron, Aaron and his sons shall come in, and they shall take down the covering veil, and cover the ark of the witness with it, and shall put on it a covering of fine leather, and spread over that an all blue wrapper. Now the way I speculate that this was done, and again I'm learning from the rabbis and the sages as far as the way that is done, I see that as being okay. They would go backwards, and they would unhook the veil and wrap and walk backwards, so as not to set their eyes on the ark, and then drape the veil over the ark to cover it up, walking backwards, as Noah's sons walked backwards to cover up whatever the shame, the weakness, the nakedness of Noah was, that Ham, or Canaan, the son of Ham, set his eyes upon, or exploited the weakness and the nakedness of Noah, and so brought a curse upon himself. The sons of Shem went in backwards and covered that. Shem and his brother, of course, went in backwards and covered that. So I see that Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and Ithiar and Moshe and everyone who was to cover that were in backwards, took it down by the hooks, and then covered it up backwards so as not to set their eyes upon that. That's just speculation. Exactly how that happened is unknown. But needless to say, they covered it with the veil first, and then they put on a leather covering over the veil, and then they put on a blue wrapper over that. And then they inserted its poles. Now, it was read earlier that the poles should never leave it. but now they have to insert the poles. So that's a confusing point which I cannot explain. If anyone has an answer to that one, answer it for me. I don't know. Because we read earlier when it was constructed that the poles were never to leave it. But now they have to insert the poles. That is a confusing point, and I'm sure there is an explanation that makes perfect sense. And, okay, so verse 7. And on the table of the showbread they shall spread a blue wrapper, and shall put on... Okay, they shall spread a blue wrapper, and shall put on it the dishes, and the ladles, and the bowls, and the jars for pouring, and the showbread on it. So they put a blue wrapper down, and then they put on all these utensils, and then they wrap it up. And they shall spread over them a scarlet wrapper, with the same, and cover the same with a covering of fine leather, and shall insert its poles, and shall take a blue wrapper, and cover the lampstand of the light, with its lamps, and its snuffers, and its trays, and all its utensils by which they serve it. So on the table they put the utensils, and then they put a scarlet wrapper over the table and the utensils, and then they wrap all that up together. And they wrap up the lamps, and they shall put it with all its utensils in a covering of fine leather, and put it on a bar, and cover the golden altar. And over the golden altar they shall spread a blue wrapper, and cover it with the fine covering of fine leather, and shall insert its poles, and shall take all the utensils of the service with which they serve in the set-apart place, and shall put them in a blue wrapper, and cover them with a covering of fine leather, and put them on a bar, and shall remove the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple wrapper over it, and shall put on it all its utensils by which they serve there, in fire holders, the forks, and the shovels. To put in all the utensils they serve there, all the fire holders, the forks, and the shovels, and the basins, and all the utensils of the altar, and they shall spread on it a covering of fine leather, and insert its poles. And when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the set-apart objects and all the furnishings of the set-apart place at the breaking of camp, then the sons of Kehath shall come in to lift them, but not touch that which is set apart, lest they die. These matters are the burden of the sons of Kehath in the tent of meeting, and the oversight of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, is the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily grain offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the dwelling place, and all that is in it, with the set apart place and its furnishings. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, Do not cut off the tribe of the clans of the Kehaths from among the Levites, but do this to them, and they shall live, and not die, when they approach the most set-apart objects. Aaron and his sons shall go in, and appoint each one of them to his service and to his burden. They are not, however, to go in to watch while the set-apart objects are being covered, lest they die. So the children of Kehath, the Kehathites, were to carry these, but Aaron and his sons were to cover them up and wrap them up and protect them before they were carried. And if they did not cover them correctly, and the children of Kehath set their eyes upon them, whose fault is it that the children of Kehath died? it was the children of Aaron and his sons did not do their duty, and Aaron and his sons are responsible for cutting them off for their death because they did not do their duty to cover it up and to make sure that the Catholics did not come in until everything was covered up and wrapped up according to the way they were supposed to be wrapped up and covered up. So, just like a parent telling their 10-year-old or 11-year-old, do not kill your brother. They have a 2-year-old brother. Do not kill your 2-year-old brother. Do not let him go out and play in the street. Moshe is told by Yahweh, do not cut off the children of Kehath. Do not let them come in and see these things. Do not let them touch these things until they're wrapped up properly. You will wrap these things up properly, and then they will touch them. If you don't, you're responsible for their death, because you did not protect them from touching that which is set apart, or setting their eyes upon it. Yeah. Alright, that concludes our regular Torah portion. Now the half-Torah portion is from Hosea, chapter 2. We're going to start in verse... Actually, we're going to back up. We're going to go to chapter 1 and start in verse 10. That's right, there is a discrepancy in the way the chapter divisions are made. So in a Orthodox or in a Hebrew Bible, it would be chapter 2, verse 1. But in our English Bibles, it's chapter 1, verse 10. Why? I don't understand. Don't know why that change was made in the English Bibles, in the English translations, why they can't just do things the way they should be done. But either way, possibly it was because the Orthodox Jewish wanted to do things differently than the way the Christians did. Who knows how that was divided, or who made the final decision on the division changes on these. But somehow, some way, they are different. So we're going to start in Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which is not measured or counted. And it shall be in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, that they shall be called, you are the sons of the living El. So again, this promise was made. Before they went into the wilderness, they were counted. After they came out of the wilderness, they were counted, even though many had fallen and died while walking in the wilderness for 40 years. They still had a great number. And now, Hosea is predicting that because of disobedience, they're going to be carried off into captivity, but the remnant shall remain. And now he says, the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. In other words, take each grain of sand and try and count it. You'll be there for a very long time, and you're not going to be able to count all of it. So, that is a blessing which Yahweh is promising will be on the children of Israel. And the children of Yehudah and the children of Israel shall be gathered together and appoint for themselves one head, and shall come up out of the earth, for great is the day of Yisrael. And chapter 2, verse 1, and say to your brothers, O my people, and to your sisters, O compassionate one, strive with your mother, strive, for she is not my wife, nor am I her husband. Let her put away her whorings from her face, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked, and shall set her up as on the day when she was born, and shall make her like a wilderness, and shall set her like a dry land, and shall put her to death with thirst. And I shall not have compassion on her. I shall not have compassion on her children, for they are the children of whorings. For their mother has whored, she who conceived them has acted shamelessly, for she said, I go after my lovers, who give me my bread, and my water, and my wool, and my linen, and my oil, and my drink. Simple explanation. we know one of the kings of Israel did this. After Yahweh had given him victory over Damascus, he goes and sees all the mighty ones in Damascus and says, well, that's how Damascus was great, and he instructs them to set them up in Israel. We're not going to give his name. He doesn't deserve one. His name is recorded in the Kings, and his acts is recorded in the account of the kings of Israel. But exactly as Hosea said, they have done. Therefore, see, I am hedging up your way with thorns, and I shall wall her in, so that she does not find her paths. And she shall pursue her lovers, but not overtake them, and shall seek them, but not find them. Then she shall say, let me go, and return to my first husband, for it was better there for me. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. My throat is getting dry. Sorry about that. Then she shall say, let me go and return to my first husband, for it was better for me than now. And she did not acknowledge that I gave her grain, and new wine, and oil, and increased her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Judging from who I see online, I'm probably speaking to the choir here, but I'll say it anyway. Everyone probably understands that the Hebrew word Baal has the same meaning, and we'll get into this deeper when we get into about 8 verses from now, but the Hebrew word Baal has the same meaning as our word Lord does. As far as owner, master, that is the context of what the Baal means, is owner and master. So when they have Baal worship, they probably worship ancestors. It could be ancestor worship. It could be worshiping the king. It could be worshiping the government. And we know that the beast system, as we are studying in Daniel, that the beast system is actually a government system. A beast, usually in a vision, means a government. So worship of the government is possibly worship of Baal, and the priest of Baal, the priest of the government, or the lords of the land, the landlords, the kings, the landowners are being worshipped. It could be an actual statue. It could be just worship of the owners, of the masters, of that sort of thing, and we'll see that more in depth as we read on. But that's what they prepared for. They prepared for the Lord. We might as well say that in English instead of using a Hebrew word which is obscure. Therefore, I shall turn back and shall take my grain in its time and my new wine in its season, and shall take away my wool and my linen covering with her nakedness. And now I shall uncover her shame before the eyes of her lovers, and no one shall deliver her from my hand. And I shall cause all her rejoicing, her festivals, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, even all her appointed times, to cease, and lay waste her vines and her fig trees, of which she has said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I shall make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. Now, a lot of this we have received innocently, and we don't even realize what we are saying, and since we're saying innocently, our heart condition is not there, but the words are still there, and I try to guard myself from using these words, but we have, oh, you had good luck when Yahweh has blessed you. Well, that's good luck. And Luki is a mighty one of the children of Dan, of the Danites, of the Norwegian people, of the Norse people. So make your call on that, however you say that. And of course we have perhaps, we have good fortune, and we know that fortune in Isaiah is a direct translation of a Syrian idol named Gad, or God. And we have, of course, the word God we use in worship also, which I'm not condemning anyone, we have inherited a mess. And the heart condition is not where you're in direct rebellion just because you're doing what you've inherited. So no condemnation from me on that at all, just a challenge to do word studies on it. I myself try to guard against using such words because having done the word study, I understand it to be exactly what we just read. We're giving credence to other than Yahweh. If we're blessed by Yahweh, say hallelujah. How are you? I am blessed. But yeah, it takes discipline, it takes control, and we know that when we say the others, we're not in direct rebellion. It's just because what we've inherited, and we're not even thinking on the words that we're saying. So we're definitely not saying those words in rebellion. So I don't think that's as big of a deal as I'm making it out to be in my own personal life. Yeah, a hot mess. Thank you, DJ Huck. Yeah, it is. Anyway, and so verse 12, chapter 2, verse 12 again. And lay waste her vines and her fig trees, of which she has said, These are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I shall make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them, and I shall punish her for the days of the Baals, or the lords, to which she burned incense, and adorned herself with her rings and jewelry, and went after her lovers, and forgot me, declares Yahweh. Therefore, see, I am alluring her, and shall lead her into the wilderness, and shall speak to her heart, and give to her vineyards from there, and the valley of Achor as a door of expectation, and there she shall respond as in the days of her youth, as in the day when she came up from the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh, that you shall call me my husband, and no longer my Baal. Interesting that even in this ISR version, they chose to translate one term but not another. It shall be, declares Yahweh, that you shall call me Ishi and no longer Baali, as is recorded in one English version. Ishi means my husband. Baali means my husband. So you shall call me my husband, but no longer my husband. Well, there are two ways of looking at a husband. In the 60s, they started calling their husband my old man. The women would call their husband my old man. This is my man. And that's what Ishi means, my man. This is a clinging relationship. This is my man. They're claiming him as their own. They're claiming him as their mate, and they're clinging to him as a one. This is the one I want to be with. This is my man. Whereas Baali is my owner. Yes, in that day, women were regarded as property. Even in the Middle Eastern cultures of Saudi Arabia, for example, to this day, they still are. So they both applied. The husband owned them, but in the sense that the women claimed, this is the one I want to be with. This is the one I desire. My man, Ishi, is what we will call him. We will call him Ishi, the one I want, instead of just the one that owns me. So that's where the two words come into contrast with each other, and that's what we will do in that day. We will cling to him. We will claim him as our own, and we will joyfully and pridefully say, this is the one I want to be with, instead of only, this is the one that owns me. That is where the difference lies. And, so verse 17, and I shall remove the names of the lords, the names of the Baals, from her mouth, and they shall no longer be remembered by their name. And in that day I shall make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the birds of the heavens, and with the creeping creatures of the ground, when they bow and sword and battle I break from the earth, and I shall make them lie down in safety. And I shall take you as a bride unto me forever, and take you as a bride unto me in righteousness, and in right ruling, and kindness, and compassion. And I shall take you as a bride unto me in trustworthiness, and you shall know Yahweh. And it shall be in that day that I answer, declares Yahweh, that I answer the heavens, and they answer the earth, and the earth answer the grain, and the new wine, and the oil, and they answer Israel. And I shall sow for her myself, and sow her for myself in the earth, and shall have compassion on her who had not obtained compassion. And I shall say to those who are not my people, you are my people, while they say, my Elohim. Alright, that was the half-Torah portion. Nice prophecy, and I long for the day when that prophecy is fulfilled, and we see a partial fulfilling of that in the person of Yeshua at times. And see, DJ Huck, I can't speak right now, sorry. DJ Huck says, yeah, I hear my Yah sometimes. Is that correct? I am thinking not, since I do not own Yahweh in any fashion. I agree with you, DJ Huck. I hear the same thing. I say my El would be okay. This is the one I claim as El. This is the one I claim as my mighty one. But yeah, there is only one Yahweh. There is only one Yah. To say my Yah is to say, well, my version of Yahweh. Just like Elvis had his own version of what he called my Jesus. It's nothing what the Bible says. This is not this is when Elvis said, this is my Jesus. So my Yah, I have a problem with that as well. I don't like to condemn people who do that because I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to avoid using the substitute when the song says my Baal, or in English the equivalent of Baal. They want to replace that. They don't want to use that. So I can see why they're doing that. But it pains me that they are doing that, and I would love to lead a seminar, possibly getting with Keith Wilson and Dwayne Wilson, and we're getting together and trying to teach the exact most scriptural way of being scripturally correct when we alter these songs to make them correct. Because we're trying to correct the songs, and the heart condition is trying to correct the songs. But it is painful to my ears to hear my Yah as for like reasons. I agree with you, but the people who are doing it are not intending to cause any harm. They're trying to fix a problem which was caused by, yeah, how'd you say that? A hot mess. Yeah, they're trying to fix the mess. But I agree, it is painful to my ears to hear it that way. But let's hear what Paul has to say, because Paul has commentary on this. So I like to look at a lot of Paul's letters as just commentary on Torah, or in this case, commentary on the prophets. So if we go to Romans chapter 9 and read verse 22, starting in verse 22 and read through 33, Paul is speaking directly to what we just read and explaining it to the Romans and to us. So, chapter 9, verse 22 of Romans. And if Elohim, desiring to show wrath, and to make his power known with much patience, tolerated the vessels of wrath prepared for destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his esteem on vessels of compassion, which he had prepared beforehand for esteem. Even whom he called, not only us of the Yehudim, but also of the Gentiles. And he says also in Hosea 2, I shall call them my people, who were not my people, and her beloved who was not beloved. And it shall be in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, there they shall be called sons of the living Elohim. And Yeshayahu cries out on behalf of Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, the remnant shall be saved. For he is bringing a matter to an end, and is cutting it short in righteousness, because Yahweh shall cut short a matter on the earth. And of Yeshayahu, and as Yeshayahu said before, if Yahweh of hosts, Zavaot, had not left for us a seed, we would have become like Sodom, and we would have become made like Amorah or Gomorrah. And we shall say to them, and we shall say then, the Gentiles, not following after righteousness, have obtained righteousness, even the righteousness of belief. But Israel, following after the Torah of righteousness, has not arrived at the Torah of righteousness. Why? Because it was not of belief, but as by works of Torah. For they stumbled at the stone of stumbling, and it has been written, see, I lay in Zion a stone of stumbling, and a rock that makes for falling, and everyone who is believing on him shall not be put to shame. So, Paul, attempting to explain to the Romans what Hosea was saying and what it means, has caused more confusion. As Peter has said, the words of Paul are confusing, and many people twist them to their own destruction. So let's go and look at what Paul is saying so we can understand it. Legalism, in my definition of legalism, is people who put trust in a law. It is a works-based system. If we can force people to do this, then we can force righteousness on people. That's what the entire concept of the Pharisees has been about all along, for the right reasons. Their heart's in the right condition. They saw the destruction when people were in disobedience, so now they locked people up in obedience. They made more laws, and set to make sure that people were keeping Torah by law. Just as many Christians and many other people are getting caught up in the same system here, where we want a constitutional amendment which forces a man to marry a woman, and making it illegal for a man to marry a man. What we're trusting the law. We don't trust the law. We don't make laws to force people into righteousness. It's not going to work. They can do everything exactly according to the law, but if it's not a belief, it means nothing. So we need to teach them Yeshua, and teach them righteousness through Yeshua, and Yeshua through the Spirit will teach them the law. We can petition the United States government all we want to and make all these laws that we want to, and we're not going to get anyone into the kingdom. We're actually going to shut people out of the kingdom because we're going to be building more of a wall than we are a bridge. So we don't need to use the United States government to help us out. We don't need to make laws to help us out. It's not saying that the Torah, which is given to Moshe, is null and void. It's saying that forcing people to do the Torah is not going to get them into the kingdom. The only way into the kingdom is through belief in Yeshua. Now, of course, if you believe in Yeshua, then it's a no-brainer. But I say Yahweh is the one who loves me, I say Yahweh knows everything. Everyone says this. Everyone says this. Yahweh knows everything. Omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipotent, all-knowing. And we say agape, all-loving. So we say good things about Yahweh. But if we believe what we're saying, it's a no-brainer. When Yahweh says, do not, okay, we don't. We're not going to be the 2-year-old says, the car rolls better in the street. My parent just doesn't understand. If He says don't garden the street, we don't garden the street. If He says don't eat the pig, we don't eat the pig. If He says don't work on the seventh day, we don't work on the seventh day. Why? Because we know He loves us. And we know He knows everything. Not any other reason. But because we love Him and we want to enter into the life which He has for us. And we know He has a better life for us. And we know Father knows best. This is why we do. We don't do because it's doing it. Well, if I do this and do this and do this, I can earn my spot in the kingdom. No. By failing to do it, we've earned our spot. We've earned our condemnation, the eternal death. We've earned the second death. We deserve to be destroyed. We're useless. We've failed. We've missed the mark. But through Yeshua, He has taught us that although mistakes are made, there is still redemption. So, anyway, that concludes this. If anyone has any other comments or any other questions, then we can ask them and deal with it right now. If not, then shalom everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining us here for Torah School. And please join us next week as well. But dear Father Yahweh, we do love you, and we do so much want to keep your commands, and we do so much want to do things your way. We thank you for this Sabbath day, and we thank you for this your Torah, and we thank you for the lessons that you're teaching us through your Torah. Please help us to be more like Yeshua, the example you set for us. Please help us to be called children of Elohim. Please help us to be your sons, and help guide and direct us so that we can enter into your rest, enter into your kingdom, and be of service in your army as we do battle against these principalities and powers. Help us to stay focused on your kingdom. As we go about our business, help us to realize that the real purpose we are here is to help people, bring people into your kingdom and defeat the powers and evil and the principalities of darkness. Help us to stay focused as we go about our work this week, and help us to bring your kingdom, and may your kingdom come quickly. In Yeshua's name we ask. Please make it so. Hallelujah!